Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another live demo of PSPDFKit's SDK, where we take a little time to go over some of the core functionality that you can integrate into your applications using our technology. My name is Richard. I'm part of the sales team here at PSPDFKit. Joining me in the background is Guillermo, who is one of our web engineers. During the demo today, you feel free to drop in technical questions, and that'll allow you to get those. And towards the end, we'll also save some time to bring him back on and go in depth on that. So he'll be monitoring the chat and the questions like that. So if you do have anything, feel free to ask him, and he'll be a great resource. So we'll give everyone about another minute to join. I saw that some people are looking to get more access for their colleagues, but then we'll get started. If there's any issues, technically with my audio or video, please speak up. I'll keep an eye on the chat as well if anyone needs anything. But I'll go ahead and share my screen so you can see. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Right. We'll get started. So a little bit about our company. If you're new to us, PSPDFKit's been in this space, kind of helping developers enable PDF rendering and manipulation for over a decade now. We started originally in the iOS space with our first framework, which allowed you to render and kind of manipulate PDF documents in iOS applications. Over the years, we've evolved, bringing functionality to other operating systems such as Android, web, Java, .NET. As well as, this year we've acquired a couple other companies that have allowed us to expand our portfolio to do more things. So we'll touch on a little bit about that. But, overall, PSPDFKit is used in a number of different use cases. For everyone here, I'm sure everyone differs a little bit. But, by looking at some of our core, highlighted customers, used in the engineering, construction space from Autodesk, e-signatures and things like that. From DocuSign, Dropbox for cloud storage and things like that. So, getting further into this, to kind of understand the purpose of this demo, again, we're going to be trying to go through some of the core functionality that PSPDFKit provides. As I kind of mentioned, we offer a number of different SDKs. You can see here on the left side, web, iOS, Android, Windows. Each one of these frameworks are built and maintained by, individual engineering teams here at PSPDFKit. The benefit of that is we do a lot of stuff that's OS specific, that allows, the viewing and manipulation experience to be tailored to what those users expect, gestures, things like that. So, primarily today, going to be talking about the Web SDK as one of our flagship products, and a lot of functionality here that we brought to market that had been seen in browser application, and then moving into kind of the demo itself. PSPDFKit for web is sold on a per component basis. So all of these subsections are essentially components that you can utilize within your application. So doing that, you'll be able to basically build and customize your kind of experience for your thing. Hans, I from sales? Yes, I'm the VP of sales, I think. Getting into this. So the first thing what we want to talk about is basically our core component, which is our viewer component. Our entire SDK for our web framework is built on top of that. So starting off with being able to render PDFs within your application. We have a standard UI that you can start off with. So what you're seeing right here is essentially the UI that we've built, that when you use PSPDFKit, this is what you get by default. This is highly customizable in the fact that you're able to kind of manipulate icons, the way this looks, and how users experience stuff. So we'll take some time to kind of go through each feature, answer questions, and things like that. So cool. So we'll switch over to this. So our viewer. So our viewer is great for a number of different documents, PDFs. We convert images to PDFs. We can also do Office files to PDFs so that you're able to render those in your application. We have a lot of standard features such as, being able to use thumbnails to cycle through the document, as well as, pulling out any outlines that have been used when creating the document. We do a lot of QA in terms of testing our compatibility with other readers. So, documents built in Adobe or another thing that are used in our SDK, and vice versa, that things like outlines persist, so that you're not tied into a certain reader or something like that. Bookmarks, things like that. So I'm running a demo today, so I'll do a demo bookmark, and then you can track that. Standard stuff like searching. Searching is incredibly important for construction documents and things like that. Being able to get to a certain zoom level, and being able to see fit to page that you see. I continue to use other viewing features that we see. We do a search engine so that you're able to search within the PDF as long as it's been OCR'd, or that the text is recognizable. So we're able to search within the PDF, and then you can extract that search data. You could highlight it. You could do a number of customizations in terms of what you want to do with that. By default, this demo is allowing me to download the PDF locally, but you have control of what you do with the document lifecycle. We have a lot of people that use us as like a DRM and things like that. So you can see, if I jump over to a magazine viewer, you can see that the UI has been customized, that we've moved the toolbar to the bottom. We've removed a number of different icons to kind of fit this use case. So one of the things you'll notice is that the download option is been removed. So by removing the download option, you're keeping control of the document itself, and things like that. I'm just keeping an idea. Keeping an eye on the chat. Someone's asking what the price is. Yeah, we do licenses as a subscription service. This is basically some of the information we're covering today on the demo in terms of the feature flags and the components. That all goes into kind of the licensing model. So, if you are talking to a salesperson, I'm happy to connect you with them, and get back to you with a price based on your requirements, since, this is a highly customizable SDK. So that can help kind of answer your questions. Other things that you can do with the SDK is different transition modes. So we have flip books and things like that. So the UI is entirely super customizable. So you can basically create the experience you need to when working with PDFs. Cool. So glanced on the viewer a little bit. So the next thing that we see, predominantly a lot of people coming to us, either whether they're using an open source viewer right now, but annotations. So the ability to annotate documents within the browser is, one of the key things that we provide. You can see we have over 17 different annotation types that are there. So yeah, we can kind of speak on some of the annotation types we have. So, looking at this document, we do have some that are already applied to the PDF. But, starting with being able to select text and then having this pop over. So, it's a great editing tool to highlight, do strike through, underlines, things like that. So if you do have a collaborative approach to reviewing documents and markups, this is a great way to do it. You're also able to, again, extract any of the information under the highlights and do with that what you want. So that's something that we do currently. So the other things, in terms of, our annotation kit. So, one of the most common annotation types is just, ink annotation. So freehand ink annotations to be able to draw on the document. So what we've done is we've taken these annotations and give you a lot of customization in terms of, being able to, select certain colors, also, put a backfill on the annotation as well if you need that. Change the opacity depending on if you're adding this as an additional layer on top of something, line thickness, things like that. So you have a lot of control there. Also can highlight things. Same thing, you'll always have the ability to customize the color with the color picker, as well as, erase anything you knew. We also have an undo and redo button as well. Other annotation types, you can add a stamp to the PDF. So we use the same stamp template as Adobe so that, again, the cross compatibility with other readers. So if you were going to download this locally and then open it up in another reader, we want those stamps to persist the way that they were, so they're commonly accepted. So you can see, again, I'm using PDF fumes through a Chrome browser to render these annotations, and they're looking the same as then when we were working with them in our viewer as well. So we know that's really important, so that if the document does leave our reader, that you're able to keep that. That's good. Link annotations as well, being able to create a link annotation so that you can send people to other websites, other pages. So if I wanted to have an action item on the document here, I could put that, and then I can decide what's going to happen. So once I put the link annotations on the PDF, you can see here, I can travel to it. I can change the icon on it. I can also use the link annotation to put it around certain text as well. So if I wanted to move it here, and maybe we want to go to Google this time, I can create this real quick, and then it'll be there. So if I come back, I can click and I can move to Google. So yeah, those link annotations are super helpful. Construction blueprints, you can do go-to actions so that you're going to other pages of the PDF. There's a lot of different things you can do with link annotations. Last thing, you can also upload an image. I'm not sure if I have one handy that is shareable, but yeah, we definitely have a lot here. So if I wanted to bring in our feature page from the other, I could drop that in and, obviously work with that as well. And then if I went to downloaded it and pulled it up into another browser again, you can see that we've got it here as well. Cool. Wonderful. We'll go ahead and delete that. Other things just to keep in mind that we have, node annotations, being able to, do that, free text. So and also shape annotations as well. We do a lot of customization based on industries. So we do have a rectangle annotation, but we also do support cloud annotations because we understand that's a core annotation type used in engineering and construction drawings. So if there isn't anything specific to your use case, if you are navigating our website, we do have a solutions page for different types of, fintech, government, legal. So if I was coming from a place where maybe I'm working on a learning management system, we definitely kind of go into, certain customers that use us in this space, different things that we've seen, how PSPDF gets used. But one of the nice things is we also come to the bottom and we also suggest certain functionality and certain features that we see are commonly used in that industry just based on our experience. We do it for every single industry that's here. So you can always scroll to the bottom and take a look and see, here's the top 6 components that we would suggest that have been built and kind of tailored to kind of your workflow in your industry. Yep. So we'll kill some of these tabs. So yeah, back to this. Okay. So yeah, so I'll check the chat real quick, see what we have. 3 things like the annotation. I have gone through the document because my toolbar. Okay, looks like Guillermo's got me covered. Thanks, Guillermo. Keep it coming. Yeah, with one of the toggles you'll see up the top, I'll cover this real quickly. We do have 2 integrations of our web framework. One's called PSPDFKit for Web Standalone, which essentially is a client-side integration of our web framework. So when I say client-side integration, essentially what we provide when you're licensing PSPDFKit. It gives you kind of the ability of how integrated you want to get with our web framework. The one that, called PSPDFKit Web Standalone, it's a great tool. It gets you up and running with really the least amount of code. What you'll get access is to our web JavaScript client, and then all the rendering manipulation just happens in the browser running as a WebAssembly web worker. You basically offload all the workload to the client, and it runs basically in context when no server's available. So a lot of offline support, things like that. So it's really a plug and play integration. If you're interested in a more integrated approach that, can enable things like, lazy loading of PDFs, downloading pages on demand, as well as like server side processing. I'll show a couple of features on that. Like we have a server backend integration. Both of these are entirely self-hosted. The trial sandboxed, you're able to control your information. Nothing pings back to us, but the key difference is we provide you a Docker image that you run in your own data center, which access your existing PDF files, and then we perform the rendering manipulation on that. So, essentially it integrates with the same front end, but it just comes with a lot more power for you to kind of utilize, which, we're a big fan of. We've seen that being more and more adopted as customers come to us. Yeah. Cool. So viewing annotations kind of knocked off. If I missed any annotations, feel free to let us know. They're probably there somewhere. So the next thing that, I saw someone mention, DocuSign. So we'll look at, these next four components kind of, in unison, as this is kind of a growing interest in people using our framework that are relying on third-party e-signature platforms, but might have interest in bringing that workflow, in-house into their application, rather than going to someone else's server, someone else's websites, and things like that. So, looking at the demo here, we'll pull up a form. So PSPDFKit has the ability to work with PDF acroforms, which follows the PDF spec. So essentially what we do is, like, if the document has a form on it, we render that form. We acknowledge what type of form field it is. So, with text fields, we're able to fill those out. We're able to, identify radio buttons, check boxes, things like that. So you can do this. So we can handle existing forms and things like that. We also can recognize the signature box and pull up a signing UI for that. So also with this, one of the awesome things about it is, all these fields are empty right now, but you also have the ability to map these fields to a database. So with the database, you can basically programmatically fill out form fields. So in the essence that you can go ahead and skip a lot of steps in terms of having this, first and last name already filled out, the address already filled out from your database. So you can save your customers a lot of time and hassle on that, or your employees. So additionally, you can also take this information when you export the PDF and do what you want. So if you're collecting information from these, it's quite useful. So what happens if you don't like the way the form looks? So what we've recently released in the last year is basically our form creator. So what this allows me to do is actually edit existing PDF acroforms. So I'm able to delete fields, edit the PDF itself. There's a couple different, use cases for this in terms of, like, I want to, maybe I have an old form that needs to be updated based on one of the fields, or it's no longer relevant. Instead of building this from scratch all over again, you can use our SDK, come in with either a UI or programmatically and kind of move things around. You can see, like, that you have some flexibility in, the text style, how things are going to come in, the color of the text. You can also look at, just generally speaking, what the form itself looks like, the form field, and things like that. So a lot of flexibility around here. Mostly today I'm focusing largely on the UI aspect of things, but in our documentation, there's a lot of information on what we can do programmatically, as well as from, like, an API perspective. So you can see, like, our, creating a fillable form and things like that. We expose this all in our documentation. Cool. So you could also be adding these things programmatically. So additionally too, if I accidentally deleted this, what if I needed to add a signature field? So, I do have the ability now with our form creator to bring in and drop, PDF form fields to the PDF. So if I did have a signing workflow where I needed to drop in signature fields, I needed to drop in date fields, I can do that. So, you could start from a blank PDF as well. So let's just say we want to delete this page and add a new one, and then save this. I can come into this next page, find my form creator, and then I could start, working through my PDF, or like, okay, I want a signature box there. Okay, I want a text field here, or I'm going to do, different things. Maybe it's a drop down, but you have a lot of flexibility in terms of now building out forms too. So form field name, we can do first name, and things like that. So we can build out forms as well. So as you're going through like an e-signature process, like you're able to do that. And then if you flatten the form and then, pull it up, you'd be able to work with it as well. So that's all able to do from a UI perspective, but also from a programmatic perspective. If you needed to, drop an initial form field on the bottom left of each thing, you could do that. So yeah, that's our form creator. A lot of adoption with that with the last year. It's super helpful in terms of, adding signature boxes and things like that. On the signature side, a couple different things we do. E-signatures have become, very pertinent in the last couple of years, in terms of like more remote work. So, if we're able to find and detect a signature box, if you click on it, we have our own signature UI that you can take advantage of. Being able to sign with an e-signature, which drops it and resizes it nice to the signature box. You also can upload an image of your signature, and you can also type the signature. So signature number 2. You can save these. You can use them over and over again. You do have customization on this dialog box that comes up. You can also use our e-signature toolbar item, which will drop, and then you can resize and then pull it into a signature field. But possibly you don't need the signature fields at all, and you just need to show that someone has signed it maybe on another part of the PDF here. So that's electronic signatures, and then you could download it, things like that. Since we are an SDK, we give you a lot of ability to kind of pull like the annotation list. So you could definitely timestamp, check an audit log, in terms of giving people API author names and things like that. So you can see when things have been done, who they were done by some criteria. So you do have tracking, and you can then use that information as you want. The next step to add on top of this would be a digital signature, which requires the ability to basically add a digital certificate on top of the PDF. We do provide the vehicle to do this through PSPDFKit. So if you had a certificate from like Adobe Intrust, something like that, you could add your signature. You could apply the certificate through this, and then PSPDFKit will recognize that it's been digitally signed, and the document hasn't been altered. This is the same thing as if you put in documents that have already been digitally signed with PSPDFKit already. So we do recognize them. And then one of the real big value items is here. If someone comes in and goes to edit the document, we immediately will flag that and say that, it was digitally signed, but it's been modified since the signature. So there's definitely some value in there based on kind of what you're trying to support for your users. So, it's great. Cool. Looks like we're 25 minutes in, so going to speed up a little bit on some of the things we want to cover. Again, if you want to see any demos of this, I did show the document editor real quick. That was when I was adding pages, rearranging. One of the things I do want to get to is like, obviously we saw that, you can do other document types. So you're not just limited to PDF. PSPDF can render those into PDFs. And then you're able to take advantage of all these tools as well. One of the good things that we do is also redaction. So PSPDFKit is one of the few SDKs that permanently redact information from a PDF. We don't simply put a black box on top of it. So application agreement. So if I search the PDF and I say application agreement, it's there. Some vendors will do just this. They'll put a box over it, they'll fill it, and then they'll flatten it into the PDF itself. So when I'm looking at it, it looks like it's been gone. It's been removed from the PDF. If I upload it back into our reader, bear with me for a second. Downloads for example. If I upload it back into the thing, if I look for agreement, it's still showing up. So here's the first one. The second one is actually showing up here underneath the box because it hasn't been removed. So what PSPDFKit can do is we can basically irreversibly remove the image of that, but the image style of that, but also the underlying metadata of it as well. So if I wanted to do this, select it for redaction. What's interesting, so I was running a demo redaction. We'll do that in yellow text and I'll apply the redaction itself. So I've done that. If I go back in and search application, okay, it's no longer. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The sixth one is gone. Also with agreement, it's been removed as well with only one showing up here. So we're able to permanently remove that metadata under the PDF so that it's irreversible. So PII, things like that. This is a really great tool in being able to, work with sensitive information. We can do it through a couple different tools. We can do it through a text redaction where you select the text, again, if it's been OCR'd, but we can also do an area redaction as well. So we can just search an area on the PDF and apply it. With anything, we do try to build a lot of custom examples for people so that you can use these. They're basically open source catalog examples that you can use in unison with our trial key. So, if I'm using like my built-in redaction tools, this is a smart redaction tool that we've selected certain criteria that as the document's rendering, it's pre-selecting all these different things, emails, credit card numbers, phone numbers that are like, okay, these are probably PII that you want to remove. So I can look at the preview without it. Okay, everything looks good. I could say, okay, maybe I do want this phone number to persist, so I can remove that one. I can also be, all right, well, we're going to allow all emails to still stay there. So I'll run this again. I'll render the document and things like that. And then I can apply the redactions. And then all this has been permanently removed. So a lot of things. And then with all these examples, you can upload your own documents if you just need a quick tool to use or if you want to evaluate some of the things we do. So redaction's a great one. One of our key releases recently is, a lot of vendors in this space, you annotate as an additional layer on the PDF. What we have been able to release in the last couple of weeks is what we call our content editor. Content editor allows you to actually edit the underlying base layer of the PDF or the original PDF. So I'm able to now, edit the PDF and things like that. We've got a number of fonts and things like that. We're working to bring font matching, things like that. But, in terms of, being able to get into the underlying PDF, like if you have an old template or something that is outdated, you need to update dates or something like that, or you created a PDF and you just happen to forget something, you can use our content editor to do that. So maybe I'll remove the S here, and things like that, so I can match the text and things like that. So content editor is a big one that we're seeing. Contracts, things like that, where you're actually now getting into the ability to really manipulate the PDF on a whole different layer as well. Cool, a couple minutes left. So the last two things I typically like to go over is, we do a number of things that are process server side. So, being able to OCR documents, scanned in files, things like that, generating PDFs from HTML. We have a lot of capabilities here in terms of bringing, both front-end tools, but back-end tools as well. We also have a lot of stuff in our portfolio in terms of barcode scanning, MCIR, compression, things like that. So like not only the front end tools that you may need, but we can also do a lot on the back end. We also have a ton of integrations in terms of, getting into different tools that lack PDF support, like SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive, Salesforce, things like that. So your ability to, bring a lot of these tools into like not only commercial tools that you're working on, but like also like internal tools like that you're using for collaboration within your team. So like, again, would you love to be able to sign documents within SharePoint rather than kicking out somewhere? That could be something we could help out with. Okay. And the last thing that we usually go over is our tool called PSPDFKit Instant. We several years ago brought a tool to market that was really in an effort to kind of look past what standard PDF workflows look like. And so what we did is we built something that allowed better collaboration and seamlessness around multiple users. So the ultimate idea of what Instant provides is basically, if you have someone you have multiple collaborators on a document, let's think education, let's think, someone out in the field as a technician, someone back in the back office. What this enables is basically anytime something happens to the document, anyone who has access to it is updated in real time, almost like a Google Docs workflow for you, so to speak. So what this does is anytime something is manipulated, it sends a ping back to your server and updates everyone with permissions on the document. It works offline, so that basically if you're working offline, the document, everything will be persisted once you come back online. It notifies people of major changes. So like, if someone else has it, they're going to be notified that they need to reload the document. If I come in here and maybe delete this first page or something like that, it'll do the same thing. It'll notify everyone with access. Okay. Some cool things we've done to really go past the initial thing is like we have threaded commenting, so that you can have a sidebar conversation on certain annotation types, which are super helpful. It says anonymous, but you could put, API usernames on this as well. So that's something that we do. So that's PSPDFKit Instant. It works with both our web and our mobile SDKs so that you're able to kind of put a collaborative approach to everything. It also allows single user level permission. So just as if you're someone who jumps from different devices, it's automatically going to sync that and avoid that download, upload, resend, and things like that. So there's a lot of things there that can benefit your users. So a couple more things just to come. I know it looks like the chat's been pretty busy. Guillermo, you look like you've been really busy. So I can take a look at this and see if there's anything there. Ideally, if you do have any questions, there's a couple different ways to get in touch with your team. I will put my email directly into the chat, so that if someone does want to reach out to me, if you need help with anything, you can send me an email, and I can seek you over the team. We also have a contact sales form that allows you to come in and kind of tell us about your project, what platforms you were interested in. So today I went over web standalone and web server back, but as you see, we have other platforms, other integrations, and we can set up a call with our team, or we can handle it through email. We also have technical support through our engineering team. So if you have any technical questions, you can talk to more engineers like Guillermo, who's been able to really help out with this and send a lot of documentation. If you haven't evaluated, we do have a free trial, which allows you to come in and pick again the integration, how you would like to download it, and you can basically get started. The only difference from what I've showed today with what you can integrate is it is watermarked. So you will see a watermark on the PDF as you're working with it, but it allows you basically to evaluate our entire component list, and things like that. So you'd be able to get a full idea of what you can do with the framework, as well as being able to then talk with our team and see what's going to be the best package for you for going forward. Cool. Awesome. I'm going to take a quick look at the chat to see and see, is there a time limit for the trial version? Currently, there is no time limit for the trial version. It's the trial version is there for evaluation purposes. So, we did talk a little bit about the licensing model that, we do license this as a subscription service. So, what that does is it allows you to have access to updates and support from our team. So, once you move into kind of that active development, we would want to get you set up with a subscription. But yeah, you can use the trial key as long as you want currently and do that. Hans, yeah, we can, if you want to send me a quick email from when I posted, I can try and put you in touch with somebody, or we can talk directly on kind of pricing model and things like that. We do have a distributed team, so we do have, sales team members, engineers across the board in many parts of the world. So if you do prefer a time, I can make that happen as well. Looking to see if Guillermo missed anything. Usually he doesn't. He's quite good at this. All right. Questions over there. Nobody has questions. Yeah, I can leave it here and see if there's any more questions on kind of our SDK. There's a lot here. I mean, in terms of blogs, we do other webinars as well. If you weren't able to, if you had someone you wanted to pass this on to, you can definitely come in and see old webinars we've done. You can share those videos with the recordings. We post them all here on our webinar page, so you can see different things here of what we've done. So, our launch of our SharePoint Online integration, OCR, we've got a lot of resources here in terms of what you need in terms of kind of support. So definitely would recommend taking advantage of some of these resources. Our documentation is not behind any paywall, so you're able to come in and see all our guides, all our customization, best practices, things like that. But ultimately, if you need help, please let us know. We're happy to talk through things and kind of get best practices, browser support. We cover all the main browsers, a lot of framework support for front ends and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot here, but so yeah, so if there's no more questions, I just want to thank everyone for joining in. We provide a lot of flexibility, a lot of customizations, a lot of power behind our technology. So, we'd love to find a way to work with you and your specific requirements. So feel free to reach out. You can contact me directly. You can contact our team, and I will definitely follow up on that on my end. So hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day or evening, and look forward to talking to many of you about your use cases in the coming days. So awesome. Let's see a couple people. Wonderful. Awesome. Okay. Hope everyone has a great day, and yep, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.